The world grows larger every day, and yet my master behaves as if it were only another street in London.
The warrant must arrive in Bombay. It must.
Only a little time, monsieur. The warrant will arrive in Calcutta, if not here.
The following morning, Mr. Fogg, Passepartout, and Detective Fix, though the latter still uninvited, stood on the platform of Bombay's Grand Train Station. The air was hot even at dawn, filled with the sounds of vendors shouting and engines hissing. The newly built railway line was a marvel of British engineering, stretching eastward across India. It promised to carry travelers from Bombay through the jungles and plains to the holy city of Allahabad and onward to Calcutta on the banks of the Ganges. Phileas Fogg purchased the tickets without hesitation, his calm face betraying no excitement. Passepartout, however, could barely contain his amazement. He had never seen so many different people together in one place. British officers in smart uniforms, Indian traders carrying bales of cloth, women in colorful saris, and pilgrims with walking sticks and copper pots.
India. It is more wonderful than I ever imagined.
Fix kept close to the pair, pretending to be another traveler. In reality, his eyes never left Fogg. He still waited for the arrest warrant from London, hoping it would arrive in time. Until then, he resolved to follow Fogg wherever he went. The train gave a long whistle. Steam poured from the engine, and the carriages shuddered. With a cry from the guard, the journey across India began. At first, the train sped past the crowded streets of Bombay, where ox carts mixed with horse-drawn carriages and wandering cattle. Soon, the scenery changed. Palm trees waved gently in the breeze, villages with mud houses and thatched roofs appeared, and farmers worked in the rice fields, their feet sinking in the water. Passepartout could not sit still. He leaned out of the window, pointing out temples with tall spires and monkeys leaping across the branches of banyan trees. He laughed like a child at every sight, while his master sat quietly, reading a newspaper.
Mr. Fogg, do you see that? A whole herd of elephants. Enormous beasts, bigger than any horse.
Yes, elephants are used for carrying loads in these regions. They are reliable animals.
Passepartout sighed. His master could find a way to make even elephants sound ordinary. Meanwhile, Fix sat in the next carriage, pretending to admire the view. In truth, he wrestled with doubt. The more he studied Fogg, the more he wondered, could such a calm and polite gentleman really be the daring thief who robbed the Bank of England? Yet everything about the man's journey, the haste, the large sums of money, the determined silence, seemed suspicious.
If only the warrant would arrive. Until then, I must remain his shadow.
For 2 days, the train traveled smoothly, stopping at small stations where merchants sold spiced tea, rice cakes, and fruit. Then, on the 3rd day, the train slowed unexpectedly. Passepartout, who had just fallen asleep, was jolted awake. The conductor's voice shouted through the carriage.
Attention! The line ends here. All passengers must leave the train.
Confused, Passepartout looked out the window. They were in the middle of the jungle. A small village stood nearby, but beyond it stretched endless forest.
What is this nonsense? Surely the line cannot end in the middle of nowhere.
Fogg calmly asked the conductor for an explanation. The man bowed slightly and said,
Sir, the railway company promised to finish the track all the way to Allahabad, but the construction has not been completed.
From here, there is no railway for 50 miles. You must find another way across the jungle.
Passepartout threw up his hands.
50 miles. In this heat? On foot? Impossible.
We will find transportation.
In the nearby village, Fogg made inquiries. Ox carts and horses were available, but none could travel quickly across the rough jungle paths. Just when hope seemed thin, a guide mentioned that an elephant was for hire. The animal, named Kiuni, was large and strong, with broad ears and calm eyes.
The price is high. £2,000.
Passepartout nearly fell over.
£2,000. Why, that is robbery.
But Fogg handed over the money without blinking.
Time is more valuable than gold.
With that, the elephant was saddled, and a skilled mahout, elephant driver, joined them as a guide. Fogg, Passepartout, and Fix climbed onto the animal's back. Slowly, Kiuni moved into the dense jungle, carrying them toward Allahabad. The jungle was alive with sound. Birds of bright colors screeched in the treetops, while insects buzzed like tiny drums. Occasionally, a tiger's roar echoed in the distance, causing Passepartout to clutch the saddle tightly.
Do not worry. Tigers rarely attack elephants.
Rarely is not never. Still, he could not deny the beauty of the forest. Sunlight filtered through the tall trees, and the air smelled of flowers and spice. Along the way, they passed small villages where children stared wide-eyed at the foreign travelers on the great elephant. Fogg remained calm, studying his watch frequently to ensure they were still on schedule. Fix, on the other hand, grew restless. Every hour that passed felt like a chance for his suspect to escape justice. On the second day of their jungle crossing, they heard distant cries. The mahout slowed Kiuni and raised his hand. He whispered,
Listen!
The voices rose higher and higher until they came to an open space. There, they found a young woman lying unconscious, her face deathly pale. Fogg decided to rescue the woman, and he made a plan. The woman's name was Aouda. She was the daughter of a wealthy merchant, forced a terrible situation after her husband's death. Grateful and shaken, she thanked Fogg with tears in her eyes.
You have saved my life.
Fogg replied simply, "No thanks are necessary. It was the right thing to do." Passepartout, however, was glowing with pride.
Monsieur Fogg, you are the bravest man I have ever known.
Even Fix, though still suspicious, felt a grudging respect. He had not expected such courage from his so-called criminal. With Aouda now part of their group, the journey to Allahabad continued. Kiuni carried them steadily until at last, after days of hardship, the railway line appeared again. Fogg paid the mahout generously and released Kiuni to him, with Aouda seated safely beside them. The party boarded the train once more, bound for Calcutta. Fogg had lost money and time, but he had gained something far more valuable, a human life saved.